Pastor, I didn't get to see yours yet, but I hope to watch it pretty soon, and I hear it was good. So, we're not singing, baby. No more songs right now. Okay, the name of our lesson tonight, how many of y'all saw it on your Facebook or anything? How many of you ready for it? Okay, we'll see. Okay, so the name of our title, Gird up your loins with self-discipline and a sober mind. How many cooks we got in here that make food? Really good cooks. No, keep them hands up. Okay, now we've all heard of pork. Pork? What country am I from? Pork loins. What do you do with pork loins? I can't even say the word. Grill them, bake them. So when we're talking about our loins, are we going to grill and bake our loins? Ew. So what exactly are we talking about when we say, gird up your loins? Does anybody know? Tighten the belt up. Exactly. Hold on.
Prepare yourself for battle.
Amen. Prepare yourself for battle. So, back in the Bible days, both men and women, they wore dresses. But they weren't called dresses. They're called tunics. And these tunics, around the tunic, they would have a belt or a girdle. And while tunics were comfortable and breezy, the hem of the tunic would often get in a man's way when he was performing something or if he was going to go fight. How many ladies here have wore your prom dresses and did what I did? Oops! You step on the bottom of the skirt, your dress, and almost pull it off of you. How many of you have ever done that with the long dress? You're stepping up the stairs, and when you're stepping up the stairs, you step on it. Well, back in the Bible days, they were no different than what we are today. They ran into the same thing. And the ancient Hebrew men had to battle the Philistines. And they would lift up the hem of their tunic and tuck it into their girdle or tie a knot to keep it from hitting the ground. So in other words, they basically made a pair of shorts. In the Bible days, they had shorts. So when you hear somebody say, gird up your loins, it was their way of saying, man up. Or as Trish would say, get over it. But the thing of it is, we've got some scriptures, and we're going to go through them today, and it's going to be kind of fast. And so let's go with our first scripture. 1 Peter 4:7. But the end of all things at a hand, be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer. 1 Peter 5:8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. Luke 12:35. Let your loins be girded about and your lights burning. Ephesians 6:14. Stand therefore, say it with me, having your loins girt about with truth and having on a breastplate of righteousness. Exodus 12:11. And thus shall you eat it with your loins, what? Girded, your shoes on your feet and your staff in your hands, and you shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. Next one. 1 Kings 18:46. And the hand of the Lord was on Elijah, and he what? girded up his loins, and ran before Ahab to the entrance of Jezreel. 2 Kings 4:29. Then he said to Gehazi, come on, gird up thy loins, and take my staff in thine hand, and go thy way. If thou meet any man, salute him not, and if any salute thee, answer him not again, and lay my staff upon the face of the child. Job 38:3. Now this is what I want you to see. Say it with me. Gird up now thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee, and thou wilt answer me. Isaiah 11:5. And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and the faithfulness the girdle of his reins. Remember when we said that a man tucked his tunic into what? What's it say up here? His tunic into his girdle. Jeremiah 1:17. Thou therefore gird up thy loins, arise and speak unto them all that I command thee. Be thou not dismayed at their faces, lest I confound thee before them. Now, when you see all of these, I wanted you to see that these were not for the lazy man. This was something that was caused in action. And when you go before them, he said here, I will dismay them before you, but if you fear, you will be dismayed before them. So in other words, this is something, you're going to believe God's going to do it? Me too. I need 2 volunteers. Well, how about Do? I think she'd be a good volunteer. Let's give her a hand. Pastor Jim, I think you'd make an excellent volunteer. Can he hold that for a minute? Or actually, I think Pastor Jim already knows what we're going to do. And so we need Pastor Jim, and our pastor told us that we need to use Brother Tim, so I think he makes an excellent volunteer. Let's give everybody a hand. Oh, I just happen to have tunics. Isn't that amazing? Oh, you might want to pick that out. That might hurt. Might hurt. Oh, yeah, you might want to put them on. Put them on. And you'll need one of these. You'll need one of these. And, brother, you'll need one of these, either one of those. You look like a monk. Now, Brother Ethan, we're going to see exactly how they wore their tunics. Brother, you might need to trade with somebody. Yours is a little short. Okay, everybody got their girdles on? You might want to tie it a little tighter, brother. Sister, I think you got yours. All right. So, Ethan, our first slide. How to gird up your loins. Next. The tunic wouldn't allow you to do heavy labor or fight in a battle. There you go. The girding of one's loins. Next. First, hoist the tunic up so that the fabric is above your knees, and this will give you mobility. Next, gather all the extra material in front of you. Jim, I don't think yours is going to work. I tried. So that the backside of the tunic is snug against your backside. Next. Once the excess fabric is gathered in front of you, pull it underneath you, between your legs to your rear. This feels much like a diaper. Next. Okay, next you are supposed to gather half of the material in each hand. I think the only one that could even come close might be Jim and Lil Do here. And bring it back to the front of you. Okay, that ain't happening. But next. Finally, tie your 2 handfuls of material together. And you're all set for both the battle and some hard labor. So go forth and be you men and gird up your loins. All right, thank you. I saw that and I was like, that would be fun to let us gird up our loins. Only I couldn't find one big enough to work. Now you know what it says when somebody tells you to gird up your loins. What are they actually saying? Can somebody tell me? Don't wear a short skirt, but that's not where I was quite going. Hold on.
Get ready for war. Get ready for war.
Get ready for war. I sound serious. Anybody else? Prepare. Anybody else? Pastor Jim, what does it mean to gird up your loins? Get ready for battle. What is it? I'm sorry. Hard labor. As Pastor said, make sure your mind is in gear and it's not too far off. As we could see when somebody told you to gird up your loins. Now in the Bible there is many different places that God told people to gird up loins, and it wasn't just men. That's the reason why I used Sister Do. They told women to gird up the loins. They told men to gird up the loins. Told Peter to gird up his loins so that he could get ready to go out. And so it means when somebody tells you gird up your loins, it means to take action. And so we too have to take and gird up our loins, as 1 Peter 5:8 says. Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing into captivity every thought unto the obedience of Christ. Actually, that wasn't what it was supposed to be. It's be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. One of the places that the devil has a hold on us is where? Our minds. And that's the reason why we have to cast them down. And that's a form of self-discipline. And let me tell you, that self-discipline is hard. How many of you have ever had a whole conversation agreeing with what the devil had to say to you? Man, you're getting fatter every time you look in that mirror. Don't you agree? Oh, yes, I am. I need to do something about that. Well, I don't know when. Am I the only one that has that conversation? Come on. I heard literally a conversation between some people the other day, and I just about half expected this person to pass out. Man, you look bad. Did you feel bad? You look really horrible. I mean, did you need to sit down? And I'm sitting there going, really? I mean, is there going to be a demonstration or something after this? And I'm not kidding you. Before that conversation, then people just about had to be held by both arms and go have a seat somewhere. The thing of it is, the power of our mind, we need to cast down those thoughts and imaginations. And so, let me ask you something. Have you ever, I tried to find this so hard on Facebook. I looked everywhere, so I ended up going online to just wherever, and let me tell you, it does not bring up what you think it does. Show the picture of the man and the woman. How many of you ever seen this picture on Facebook? Really? I love this as to the first thing I ever seen it for. I didn't know what it was actually under, and I tried to find it, and all I could find was a picture with a bunch of the craziest stuff, cartoon characters. It's not easy because the devil knows when to plant seeds in your mind. And a lot of times, innocent situations, and I'm just using this as an example. What do you see when you see this couple laying in the bed here? They've been arguing. Don't let the sun go down on your wrath. So apparently they're angry. Anybody else? Actually, that's not the case at all. Most of the time, our thoughts are not our own. They're being planted. And it takes self-discipline through the authority of the power of God to cast them down. Because we could sit there and say, get away from me, Satan. Get away from me. And I ain't listening to that. You know that's the truth, though, don't you? I know, right? And here you go again, talking again to the enemy. What this picture is, there's nothing going on. They just laid down. But she starts thinking, because he's not all lovey-dovey and hugging up to her, she's thinking every negative thought in the world. What's wrong with our relationship? I wonder what I did wrong. I bet he's thinking of other women. He's thinking she's getting older. She's not as pretty as she used to be. I want a younger, prettier wife. I'm bored with her. I wish I wasn't married. That's what she's thinking, that he's thinking. That drives my husband totally insane. My husband and I can be having the best time in the world, and I'll say what I think he's thinking, and that will turn him off right then, because he's like, you don't know what I'm thinking. Quit it. I'm not thinking that. Come on, ladies. Am I the only one? Now, like I said, the one that actually this picture refers to on Facebook, it is such a good conversation, but I couldn't find it. So I used my husband, okay? He's thinking about something that might have happened at work. I wonder where I can get that bolt to go inside that nut without having to grease that fitting, or if I can't get it to work without having to cut it off, if I dropped it, could I get another piece for it to fit into, or do I need to find a place that I could order one? If I do, how long does it take? That ain't nothing what he was thinking, what she said he was thinking. But so many times, we have to use self-discipline. And let me tell you, the devil's feeding her all of these lies. You know, he's sitting there thinking, don't you? Yeah, I know, right? Come on. So one of the places that we have to gird up our loins is gird up the loins of our mind. We have to take authority through Jesus Christ and not allow the enemy to have free reign to tell us everything that he thinks we need to think the other person's thinking. Because how many people, let me tell you what happened. There was a lady in our church, I kid you not, if this was the door, I walk on this side of the door, she walks on that side of the door, and the woman snobbed me. It bothered me for weeks. I was like, I wonder what I ever done to her. She didn't even say hello, and you can't tell me she didn't see me. She was standing right there. She was holding the door. Guess what? I actually confronted her with it because it ate me up so bad. And she's like, where? Where was you at? But by the time I got home, I was ready to quit the church. Come on. Because you got that enemy sitting there telling you what really happened. Only it's seeds of deception, because the enemy comes forth to do nothing but to. Absolutely. By the time the devil convinces this couple, she's about ready to ask him for a divorce. And he's like, why? What'd I do? You know what you've done. Okay? And it happens that way. So what are some of other schemes that the devil does to get your mind off of Christ and what all the good that God has done, the miracles, the blessings, the things that God has absolutely just thrilled you with lately? Maybe it's not a material possession, but boy, you feel good today. Oh, I feel good. I don't hurt nowhere. You know, you probably don't hurt because you've got cancer. It's probably numb. You know what? I probably do need to make me a doctor's appointment. 5 seconds ago, you was all happy. You was sitting there praising God until all of a sudden a thought came to you. We have to be ready to battle the enemy. And one of the biggest places, there's a lot of places that we need to sober up our minds, because we can't allow the devil to put us in a stupor. And there's a lot of different areas. What are some of the areas that Satan's schemes has ruined in our lives? Anybody? Lies? Yeah. The thing of it is, I think that we got our point across today. Be careful with what we allow the devil to plant. Because if it's a negative thought and it really didn't happen, find out where it's coming from. Because it may not be everything it seems. The Lord gave me a song. Yes, He does. Anybody else? Well, that's what I felt the Lord gave me. And so